All right, what's up, everybody? My name is Bo, aka Terminator Juice, and this is a Juice Opinions. There's people who have been subscribed to me probably never even heard of a Juice Opinions. I used to do these almost every week in between the Juices Loose podcast, where I'd either use the Juice Opinions to set up a discussion for the podcast, or I'd do it after the podcast and get out my my personal thoughts on a topic we covered, especially if there was any debating and stuff. And sometimes it's fine to debate, but other times I just want to get my point out and not have to argue against it. Um, so yeah, welcome. For anybody watching this that subscribed to me for my home theater content, I apologize. It's just there's been so much gaming to do. I haven't had time. I'm either playing games, watching movies, or watching shows. Like Wednesday, I finished in a couple days. Really love that, and just football. There's just a lot of things going on, and like I said in my last home theater video, I'm not making any changes. I'm content with my room and I'm using it, and that's why I have the room. I don't have the room to, you know, to try to make a YouTube career off of. When I am working on stuff, I do like to share, uh, you know, what I've learned, or what I'm doing, just to help other people and get ideas from other people. And it's just, but when I'm not doing anything, I'm just using my room, and I kind of feel like and I'll get to gaming here, so anybody that's just jumping in, I'm just talking to any of my potential subscribers that watch this, that have subscribed this year based on my home theater content, which I'm guessing is most of my new subscribers. Just not making a lot of that content. Like, I thought I could sit down and record something and edit it tonight, and I was like, what, let me just do a live stream. Just got done, well, not just, but about an hour or so ago. It's a pretty lengthy gaming session. I had a bit of a headache when my eyeballs are doing too much. When I play games, I tend to get for long sessions, I tend to get headaches. So it's a blizzard outside. It's 8 degrees Fahrenheit, negative like 12 with the wind chill. Hopefully the power doesn't go out. Luckily it hasn't. Got some snow drifts in my driveway. Christmas Eve tomorrow. Looks like I won't have to be going anywhere, which is nice. Um, but yeah, we got a few people in here, and I gotta blow my nose, so I'm gonna mute my mic for a second. And yeah, because the furnace is running so much because it's so cold, it's pretty hot in this room. I should probably prop the door open, but we'll see. I might do that. So anyway, what's up, everybody? I don't see anybody in the chat. I have the chat open. Feel free to comment. Let me know who's here, who's watching. It's been a long time since I've been on camera for Juice Opinions. I've done some not technically a Juice Opinions. I've recorded some live streams from my PS5 without being on camera and just talked about some games, but most people don't watch those. Back in the day, piece of history, like I said, I used to do these almost weekly. They started out as like my lazy way of doing like a topic, where I do like a 10-15 minute topic. And what's up, Retro? Let's say I wanted to talk about, let's say a game I was playing, or a hot topic like the Helena Taylor Bayonetta 3 voice acting controversy. Back in the day, I would just try to do a 10-15 minute live video, so I didn't have to record, edit, upload. And as soon as I'd like feel like I was done talking, I'd go from like a handful of viewers. I'm like, yeah, I'm getting pretty much going to get off. All of a sudden there's like 10, 12, 15, 20 people on, and I was like, well, I might as well keep talking. What's up, Triple J Zoo? um and then just the longer I went on live, the more people would join. By the end of I'd be going 2 hours, almost 2.5 hours sometimes, and I just like, back in the good old days, probably before the Switch came out or right after the Switch came out. I mean, you could have 50 live viewers. I'm like, I guess I'll keep going, And nowadays, because A, I just stopped doing Juice Opinions. B, people got sick of me complaining about the lack of new games on the Switch in pretty much 2018 and half a first few months of 2019, and I lost a lot of viewers that way, and just giving my honest opinion on Nintendo. But yeah, so also it's like doing the podcast, it was a bit redundant at times. Now I'm going to talk about the voice acting wages, but me and Ms. T had a bit of a disagreement. I just want to give my thoughts clearly. Like, I have pretty strong feelings on it. Give you guys my take on that, and then I want to talk about polished video games, because I in the Juices Loose chat, I've been praising a game, and I've like, you don't have to like the game or be excited about it, but I keep saying like this level of polish is not the standard. It's far from the standard, and it should be celebrated and not just downplayed. So I'm going to talk about what I feel are like the most polished games of the last 6-7 years, and what I mean by polished in general. So storms are fucking me up. Thousands of planes canceled so far. Mine should be on Sunday. Are you coming to the U.S.? Because Sunday's Christmas. My his got delayed till Sunday. We'll see if from Colorado, but yeah, it's colder. It's colder today than I think it was at any point all of last winter. Like, usually December's not that cold. January and early February are usually the cold months, and I don't think it was ever in even the teens last year, let alone the single digits. So hopefully you get here. One of these times, dude, you just, if you're gonna be there a while, I mean, I'll fly to frickin' Boston. Like, T lives there. Robert's not that far away. If you're gonna be there, just let me know, man. I mean, I've been looking for a reason to head out east sometime. So I guess before we get into the gaming stuff, I like I said in the beginning, I've been watching a lot of movies. I've been buying a lot of physical movies, trying to build up the collection, and sometimes I'll blind buy a movie that I've never even seen a trailer for. That was The Northman, and I watched that last weekend. Yeah, that's one of those I'll never watch again movies. I paid $10 for it, but honestly, I wish I hadn't. And then I've had Once Upon a Time in Hollywood for like 6 months. I finally watched that last night. Fucking, what a movie. It's a trip, man. Not what I expected at all. Tarantino seems to have this streak where he just ends every movie in some bloody, gory, like, violent scene. I don't know what it is. I mean, he's Inglourious Bastards, I think, was like the first, maybe the first of this, because Kill Bill obviously had a lot of blood and guts, but as far as like the end, just like out of nowhere. But I really enjoyed the movie. And then I bought the Spider-Man trilogy, the only trilogy that matters, the Sam Raimi Spider-Man trilogy, on 4K. I've only ever had them on Superbit DVD, and I watched 1 and 2. Still hold up, still love them. I haven't watched 3 in a long time. We'll see. Bully McGuire, but yeah, just been enjoying the theater room, and I watched Wednesday on Netflix down there, and Netflix streaming qualities kind of sucks, but it's still cool. Still cool to watch shows and stuff down there. So, all right, let me just jump in here, and feel free to comment. But T and I were talking about I was talking about Susie, I think, the Spear Hunter, who jumped on the Helena Taylor and just like immediately took her side. He's like, why wouldn't you? Well, why would you? Why would you take one person's side who felt the need to record and go on the internet? To me, Rohan Star 58. I don't think I've ever seen that name. Hello, are you a subscriber? Do you just I don't think I've ever seen you during the podcast commenting, but anyway, my question is, why would you trust anybody who makes a video and posts it on Twitter? Like, why would you trust that? I'm not saying it's never true or it's never accurate. I'm just saying, why would you just take that as the truth or run with it and just call it, okay, my bad? Like, no, I said to Rob Arula too, there's no easy way out. You're not just getting a pass for being wrong. Well, I can change my opinion once new information. Not if you took that information and spread it to other people and misspread to multiple, especially if a big following. Keep spreading the misinformation, and what happens is the mob builds, this angry mob, and they don't even know why they're angry. You got people who have never even heard of Bayonetta making videos about it and talking about it, all mad. Oh, this is ridiculous. Platinum Games. Oh, she's so underplayed. I could just tell. I said as soon as she said to boycott the or that the new voice actors or actress or actor is probably the proper term, doesn't have a right to sign autographs, and she's not Bayonetta, and to boycott the game, like something sounds fishy here. That sounds like a disgruntled ex-employee, which my old boss 24 years ago hired me, and he got fired 10 years ago because the head guy and him didn't see eye to eye on something. He's still bitter about it. He's got a really good job. It's been 10 plus years. He works for a great owner who's very good to his employees, and the dude's still bitter about getting fired. About nobody who was involved in that even works for my company anymore. He's still bitter. It's like, let it go. Like, but disgruntled employees don't think rationally, from what I've seen. It's never their fault for the most part. So I always preach caution. And getting back to the point I said to Rob and Rula too, if you just let these people off, well, oh, they just, it seemed legit. You built up this angry mob. There's still people today, I guarantee you, that still think that she was only offered $4,000 and it was ridiculous, and they never found out the follow-up story because not a lot of people reported the follow-up story. So anyway, long story short, you should never trust somebody who gets on front of a camera and posts a video on the internet, because, like I said, the first thing I said, people tend to leave out details that make themselves look bad. It's just a human nature. No one's going to get on camera and just admit all these faults or make themselves sound terrible when they're trying to get sympathy. No human's going to do it. No one's going to do that until evidence comes out that and everybody knows you're wrong. Then people come out and apologize and admit their faults. Look at Shia LaBeouf. The dude's all about admitting his mistakes now that he hit rock bottom, now that he punched a woman and has, probably legal reasons to say all the things he says now. And now he's admitting all his flaws. He wouldn't before. So anyway, I never trust people who get on, just make a video and get it and post it on the internet. I always want to hear more information. Now, more information could have came out and made Nintendo and Platinum look even worse, or information could have came out to debunk what she was saying, and that's what happened. She didn't say $4,000 is what they offered her for the full role of Bayonetta because it was true. It wasn't true. That was the offer for a guest appearance, or like a what do you call it? Not a guest appearance, but where somebody just comes in for a little bit. Somebody in the chat knows. I can't think of the word. It was just a lie, because she's looking for sympathy. She's not looking to get the truth out. She's not looking to get people in the voice acting industry more better wages. She's looking to screw over the company that she felt slighted by. Cameo, yeah, I guess Cameo's it. That's what I was looking for. She's looking to screw over the company she felt she got slighted by. I said initially greedy Nintendo. I said that's the first thing that hits my mind is greedy Nintendo, and I was going to take her side. And then it took me like, then the end of the video, or end of her first video, and she's calling for a boycott. And then I think it was the first or second video, she started talking about the new voice actors can't sign autographs. That's as long as that Greedy Nintendo lasted a few minutes, and then it was gone. And then I'm like, this doesn't smell right. I need more information. And I said that. That's the first tweet I said, is people leave out information to make themselves look good. What'd she do? She left out information that would have made herself look bad. So getting onto the final report, she was offered $15,000 up to 15 to 20,000. Now that I've played Bayonetta 3, I've beaten the game. I said on the podcast, $15,000 is overpay for what she would have had to do. To me, there's Bayonetta barely says anything in this game, and it's nothing. There's not any real substantial dialogue requiring like amazing acting. A lot of work put into it. She didn't build this character. She just came in and voiced. She even said in a past interview for when the second game came out, she was asked about how she felt about the sexuality of Bayonetta. And she said she didn't know. She just came in, read lines, and the voice director said, yeah, we like that, or no, we don't like that. And she's like 2 4-hour sessions and was done. She didn't build this character. She has a sexy voice, a British accent, sexy British accent voice. She reads the lines. She adds some inflection here and there. It's not Academy Award stuff. It's not, like I said, Amicia from A Plague Tale. It's nothing from The Last of Us. It's not like fine art acting. It's just saying some lines with a sexy voice, and to me, now that I've heard the entire amount of lines, I would say it's equal to Bayonetta 2's amount of dialogue, and I think $15,000 for that, to me, was very generous. And like I said in the podcast, they got to pay 9 different Bayonettas. They got to pay 9 Rodans, 9 Jeans, 9 Violas, 9 Enzos. Did I leave anybody out? The villain talk, but it wasn't that important. Voicing a character was owning a character. It's just everything was. There was a lot of things that just smelled fishy when she gave those 3 first videos. But anyway, if we're talking about Bayonetta, if we're talking about The Last of Us or Grand Theft Auto, okay, I'm right there with you. $15,000 to voice a main character in Grand Theft Auto, I would say that's low. I'm not sure if Grand Theft Auto voice actors do any motion capture, if they just go in the booth and record the audio. So I think 15 was more than generous. If you times all the voice actors by 9 for all the characters, I mean, you're a couple $100,000 if you're paying them all 15 grand. I doubt they pay everybody that. But if I had to say in the order of work wise, the amount of lines, I feel like Viola would be right there with Bayonetta's for the amount of lines. Enzo not so much, Jean not so much. Yeah, it's a $450 million franchise. My ass. If she left it at just the first video, I might have believed her. As the second, third, and fourth more came out, she sounded worse for each one. And you know what? We talked about this. The report came out, and they're like, that sounds a little iffy. She asked for $100K. She was offered $15,000 to $20,000 depending on how many sessions, and they offered her $4,000 to come and do a cameo. Her rebuttal was, she thought she was clearing her name, and she actually confirmed everything they said. Terrell was spot on the whole time. Dude, I said greedy Nintendo for like a minute until she got done. By the second video, I was over it. And I was the one saying, wait till you hear more information. I don't remember Terrell's specifically what he said, but anyway, if this was a major franchise, okay.
So here's how I look at it. And I know T's like, oh, you don't know anything about the entertainment. So I can only give my opinion based on what I know as an employee. Um, Coming into a booth and saying the lines and 2 4-hour sessions and leaving versus, let's say, Jill from Resident Evil 3, Nicole Tompkins. She goes to Japan. She spends a couple weeks with motion cap suit on, facial cam, all the movement animations, all the facial expressions are all her, plus the voice. To me, that is where people should be making money. If you're going in and you're doing motion capture, now the animators have to do way less. Whereas Bayonetta, that's all Bayonetta's movements, unless they hire some just any, like, I'm sure they have motion capture for the dancing. But Helena Taylor wasn't sitting there for weeks, not sitting there, but walking around, doing stunts, doing work in motion capture. And then the next level is motion capture, voice, and they use your face. So God of War Ragnarok has multiple characters where they use the actor's actual likeness. They did their motion capture, so they did all the performance capture and the voice, and they're acting on a far higher level than anything required in Bayonetta. Those people, anyone doing that should be making a good living if that's what you're doing, because it's not easy. That's physical work on top of an actual acting performance, and they're using your likeness. That to me is the top of the top. Those people should be making a ton. Like Deborah Ann Wall has a role in God of War Ragnarok for anybody that watched Daredevil or True Blood. She's a redhead, and she's the performance and likeness and voice of Kratos' wife, Atreus' mother, Frey, and she's really good. But even the guy who plays Odin, I recognized him in real life. I don't know his name, but I recognized him. It's his likeness. Not every character is their likeness, like Freya. I don't think that's her likeness. But anyway, to me, that's the top of the top. The bottom of the barrel for voice acting is you come into a booth, you read some lines, you don't know your character, you had nothing to do with developing the character. That's the low pay. Like, that should be the starting wage for voice acting. Come in, read some lines, and get out. Next up would be the motion capture, or if you're involved in the actual creation of the character, even if you just voice the character, you have a hand in coming up with that character's, personality. It's not just reading lines. And then the next would be doing the motion capture. Now your facial expressions are, you're selling the performance. So to me, that's where people should be making a good living in an entertainment level wage. There's probably people getting way overpaid for some of these games. Like, if a big celebrity comes on to do a game, like, wasn't Grand Theft Auto 3 Ray Liotta, or one of them? Like one of the first Vice City, some of those, didn't they have like Ray Liotta? Xenoblade seems to like they're the lowest of the low, but the main VAs for Xenoblade did a great job. I mean, they had a lot more lines. And like, trust me, I'm not saying that that's like entry level. Anybody could do it. By the way, I want to make sure that's clear. I'm not saying anybody can do it. You still have to have some talent. Xenoblade Chronicles 3 voice acting is so far above like what they require for Bayonetta. Bayonetta is like tongue in cheek. You're not selling emotions. Viola, I like her personality. I like the voice actor herself. Not a great freaking performance. I mean, it's not great voice acting, like acting wise. She has a good voice, but it's not great acting. Jenna Coleman, I don't know who that is. It's probably heavily compensated. If you're a big name and you have a reputation, you probably make more. That's the other thing. This whole like equal pay bullshit, this pay gap bullshit. I'm sorry. There's so many variables. Like even at my job, me and the other guy who's the other senior warehouse dude, I've been there 24 years, he's been there 12 years. We do pretty much the same work. We both kind of have our own little special things we do. So you're saying that time doesn't matter? Like we should just be making the same, even though I've been there twice as long. Like there's so many factors. He worked overtime. I got out of there as soon as I could. He was technically bringing in more money every paycheck because he was working 5-6 hours overtime. I was working 2. So he was making more money than me. But technically, I make more than him hourly. So it's like, it's just anyway. So for voice acting, I agree that for a third game, if you're making a third game, you should be getting paid more if it was the first 2 were successful. So there's so many variables that go in. You can't just say, she's the lead of Bayonetta 3. She should make 100,000. That's the other thing. She never denied the 100,000. 100,000, get the fuck out of here. 100,000 for a couple days of work without. I mean, talk about like with her, according to her resume, she shouldn't be voicing some B movie like tongue-in-cheek, silly, ridiculous video game. She should be in God of War or Last of Us or trying to think of something like A Plague Tale, and really all these powerful performances, really quality acting performances. So she's like way over what's the word I'm looking for? Overqualified to play Bayonetta like she is. She's probably better about that. But anyway, that's my thought on voice actor wages. I'm not going to cry or lose any sleep because a woman only got paid 15 grand or only got offered $15,000 for, I don't care. 8 hours of work's 8 hours. Like, yeah, if you're a big time celebrity and you get paid 10 million no matter how many lines you have in a movie, then good for you. That's how that works. I'm sure there's a ton of people who think that's ridiculous and other people who think that's absolutely fine. Melia's voice actor, very well known. Yeah, she didn't have a ton of lines in 3, but yeah. And I thought she's okay. For me, whoever voiced Mio had probably the best performance. Her and Noah, I think, were the 2 just best performances. And yeah, I mean, if you do really good work, if it's your first time, you're probably not going to get paid as much. But if you do good work and you're a proven commodity, a really talented person, yeah, you should make more. Check it out later, bro. That'll help me in the live chat. No, that's fine. Yeah, so that's my take on wages and voice acting. You could probably look at almost any department in video games and say they're underpaid. I would put more money towards programmers, animators, artists, concept artists, environmental artists. Like, to me, that's more important. Whoever is in charge of gameplay, controls, those people should be making more than a voice actor in a Bayonetta game, in my opinion. Bayonetta, Platinum, whoever is in charge of the combat system and controls, they should be making more than freaking Bayonetta voice actor, in my opinion. Anyway, let's get on to this other topic. So, like I said in the beginning, I was in the Juices Loose chat. I've been talking about the level of polish of my recent pickup and how it should be celebrated, shouldn't be downplayed, or whether you like the franchise, whether you like the game, or it looks like your type of game. Anytime a game comes out in this day and age at just a super high level of polish. It should be celebrated. So that game right now is God of War Ragnarok. I said to them, this is the most polished game I've played since Super Mario Odyssey. Maybe you could count Smash. I can't remember if Smash, that's a pretty polished game as well. And what I mean by polished, so let's just get the parameters set here. Obviously, no technical bugs or major issues, no crashing, no glitching through the ground, no wonky skating around like Aloy and Forbidden West. That's first and foremost. You just got to have a game that's didn't release unfinished. Next would be like the production value. Like there's no weird things. Everything's just seamless. Everything aesthetically, everything works together. There's no like for like Resident Evil 7 back in the day, 2.5 minute load times for no reason, like compared to all the other games in that generation. Just a really satisfying, polish, like menu system, getting into the game, everything. Like I'm talking about every aspect here. Like there's not something you're like, what the hell? Why do I have to go through 3 menus to do this or something? So yeah, the technical bugs, also the technical performance. Is there a bunch of stuttering? Is there a bunch of pop in? Is there a bunch of slowdown? As much as I love Breath of the Wild, you can't tell me that the Korok Forest is a polished experience. I mean, even to this day, it doesn't run very well. So another thing that's polished, just how the level design is. That tells you they didn't just throw a level together. All right, we're out of time. We move on to the next one. Everything's thought out. There's no getting lost. There's really not too many getting stuck moments. There's as far as God of War, but in a lot of games, you're not like, this doesn't make sense. What am I missing? And it's something the game just didn't tell you clearly. Like it tells you everything clearly. There's no slowdown or stuttery or glitching, crashing, bugs, weird animations, none of that. Like just a clean game. Plus, I would say I would take it even a step further. Really good controls. Like I don't care how quote unquote polished the game is. If the controls don't feel good, then that's not polished to me. That's a part of polish. It's everything. So I'm gonna show you, like I said, Odyssey in 2017. That felt like, oh my God, this game, we all know, was done for a long time. It was done potentially even before the Switch's launch, and then they added a bunch of moons and stuff in there. So I'm just going to go down basically the most polished games between Odyssey and Ragnarok for me, and I don't have them all physical. So I'd say Smash Ultimate, highly polished game. Like I guess you could say some of the online lobby system was a little wonky, but still overall highly polished. Luigi's Mansion 3, extremely polished on every level. This game, to me, I don't remember any like issues. Very polished. The other two are digital. Forza Horizon 4 and Forza Horizon 5. I mean, just the epitome of polished experiences. So let's say like God of War and Odyssey, I don't think you can get any more polished. So I'm going to say those are 100 on the scale of 100. I'd probably put Luigi's Mansion 3 like at 99 and Smash at maybe 99. Resident Evil 2 maybe 98, 99, right up there. So in comparison, a couple of my game of the years the last few years, Ori and the Will of the Wisps. On that same scale out of 100, I'd say that game launched at about a 75 out of 100 polished. That game had massive performance issues, weird glitches, crashes, freezing. It was not polished at all. The gameplay was polished, the level design was polished, but the technical side was not polished. Horizon Forbidden West, I picked it up a few months after it came out. By the time I got it, I'd probably give it like an 80 out of 100. I still saw the ice skating. I never fell through. Um, Not a lot of issues. Performance was really good. But I'd say probably like an 80. There's still some wonky things. There's still some characters disappearing and stuff during cutscenes. But Ori was a game of the year. Another game of the year for me last year. Returnal. Gameplay highly polished, level design highly polished, but there was a bunch of wonky technical issues at launch. I didn't play it at launch. By the time I got it, I'd probably put it to 75 to 100, or 75 to 80 out of 100 range. Uh, Unfortunately, by now I feel like it's pretty much like a 95, 96 out of 100. There's still a couple little things, but still, now that's been patched, it's way higher. Some other games of note that I've played in the last few years, like Bloodborne, I love that game. I played it on the PS5, which didn't get a PS4 Pro patch, but at least ran at a lock 30. Um, Still a few little hiccups here and there, some areas that I felt a little unpolished or rushed, maybe from a game development standpoint more than anything. Um, then let's see, Pokemon Arceus, definitely not polished. Pretty solid game. I really liked it, but I don't know where I'd put that one. Maybe 75 out of 100, 80 maybe. What else? What else I pick up this year? A Plague Tale, not polished. Like performance issues, weird little on-screen glitches. So that would probably be like a 70 out of 100. And like even the gameplay to me wasn't really not dialed in. Bayonetta 3, playing as Bayonetta, exploring and combat, polished gameplay, 100 out of 100 polish for gameplay, but performance issues unfortunately brought that down a bit. Some design choices I didn't love. I felt like a couple times controlling there's a big swinging spider and there was just a crawling spider. Both things didn't feel like they put much time and effort into how those controlled. I just felt like that lacked some polish. Some of the design choices, like doing the kaiju fight, it just felt like this wasn't even like a Bayonetta game, right? While I was playing those sections, it just you're tapping three different buttons, and it just didn't feel that great. So, plus some technical issues. What's his name? Modern Vintage Gamer proved that it was mostly GPU when it was like particles and stuff, but it was mostly a memory bandwidth issue. So I don't know how much. I mean, Platinum tried their best, but at the same time, it's not the level of polish of these top games I mentioned. Not bad. Easily a top 5 game of the year for me, but just not that level of I would say anything above like a 90 is really well polished, and 95 and above is like top best of all time type stuff. Um, Another game I really liked, Metroid Dread last year. I mean, that was close, but it did have some frame rate issues and stuff. So I would probably put that in like an 85 range. Some games have some audio glitches, or just weird transitions between levels, or like I said, the menu system. I feel like Dread was pretty good though. Like I said, about an 85. What else did Immortals? As much as I love that game, it wasn't. That was probably like an 85 as well. So it's, for me, there's only a small select games that I really put in the upper echelon when it comes to this like overly polished. As far as Nintendo games, that's usually the case. Like, look at the Wii U, you look at 3D World, you look at Donkey Kong Country Tropical Freeze. Now you could say the really long loading times was a drag, but overall, really highly polished game. Mario Kart 8, highly polished. Smash 4, highly polished. Bayonetta 2 had some frame rate issues, but fairly well polished. Like Mario Maker, that's a really well polished game. But it also felt like it was missing some things. So it's like there's a lot of ways you could really judge it. Now, if you're just talking technical stuff, yeah, most games come out fairly good, but I'm talking about the whole spectrum. I want like I said, polished controls, polished level design, even like the audio, like the audio design, menu system, everything. I'm counting everything together, and so I would say God of War Ragnarok. Doesn't matter if you didn't care for 2018, you're probably not going to love this game. It's very similar, but I say don't discredit what Santa Monica did because it's more rare. And Robert said there's a lot of games that come out polished. I disagree. I don't play as many games as he does, but I think for the most part, most games come out with issues. I feel like it's fairly rare for a game to come out at launch and just be this smooth, this polished, this nothing. Like, I think there was one time a character fell on the ground and there was a little bit of clipping. That was out of 32 hours. One death animation, there was a little, like, clipped a little through the environment. Otherwise, zero. Like, like with Odyssey, I can't think of one time in Odyssey where I was like, oh, that was weird. Like, that death was weird. Something happened there. No, it just from start to finish, the game was just like perfection from polish standpoint. Now, I felt a lot of the unnecessary moons and stuff. It got a little tedious towards the end with all the filler stuff, I felt, but overall, really well done. Like Luigi's Mansion 3. I mean, what can you say? What's there to say negative about it? It felt like everything was thought of. That's another way to say it. Feels like every possible thing was thought of beforehand. They play tested the hell out of the game. There's no soft locking. There's no getting stuck in levels. Like, everything works. Everything's fluid and just works really well. And to me, that should be rewarded or celebrated. I don't care if you don't care about Xbox. I'm not a big fan of Xbox, but Forza Horizon 4 or 5 and 5 and probably 3 as well, which I only played for like an hour. This should be celebrated, man. A developer comes together and puts out a game that just not only just works, but it works really well, and there's no like cracks in the armor. There's no chinks in the armor. There's no ugly seams. Like, you just, from start to finish, you have just a pleasant experience. Plus, like I said, great control. Everything was covered. There, nothing was left. It's like if going back to a job, comparison. Like, I've worked at the same job for 24 years, but if I had trained somebody, I'm gonna forget stuff. No, I don't watch anime. Sorry. Like, if I'm training somebody, I might forget something to tell them. In the first day, I'm like, oh shit, I forgot to mention this. So that's kind of like a game. Like, they're so worried about hitting the release date and getting the stuff done. It's easy to forget something. Just look at Callisto Protocol. They just had to put out a significant patch so that it didn't take forever. You could actually heal yourself without getting attacked. At launch, the heal took so long that you had to just survive all the enemies, kill them, and then heal. You didn't have time because the animation was so slow. You didn't have time to heal with an enemy on screen because they would attack you and interrupt the heal. How do you make a game and also the weapon switching was so long you couldn't do it. You had to try to run as far away from the enemy as possible to switch weapons. You couldn't switch weapons quick enough without getting attacked. Like, how do you release a game where you can't heal or switch your weapon fast enough to do it in the middle of combat? Like, that's why I'm so glad I didn't buy that game. What are they charging? $70 for PS5, and I don't give a shit who wants to defend it. The issues that game had are inexcusable. Not just the technical issues, the design choices. It's just, how did you not think that was bad? Like, how did you think that was okay? You can't switch your weapon out with enemies on. You you have to kill them with the club and melee them to death so you can switch your weapon. It's stupid. Like, that's the kind of stuff that a lot of games get wrong. Look at Pokemon Scarlet and Violet. Now, we know that's more than likely that was a time issue, but looking at Arceus, it's not like Arceus was this well polished game when it came out. It wasn't like a nice shiny freshly waxed car, like paint finish. It was kind of rough. And that's to me is, I feel like, the majority of games. Even Ratchet and Clank Rift Apart, I believe, launched with some weird issues. That game looks great, but what's another game that recently launched with issues? I mean, the obvious ones like Cyberpunk, even the Witcher 3 next gen update. They already got to put out a patch for something that happens on, I think it's the PS5 version. Something that they didn't think of that causes performance issues. Like, you put it out, you released it, it's free, but you released it, now you have to fix something because something wasn't right. Like, it's like, it's so easy for that stuff to happen. That's more common, I feel. So, Robert, if you watch this, I know, we kind of disagreed a bit on that. I don't think it's very common for games to come out super polished like that. So, let me know if there's a game I just blatantly forgot. I apologize. Just thinking of games I've played and that I own. Now, I'm pretty sure Animal Crossing was pretty well polished when it came out, but they did add stuff. I don't know if they had to fix anything. Like Bowser's Fury, unfortunately, wasn't super polished. Technically, has some issues. Mostly frame rate, but some other things. Kirby Forgotten Land, I think that seems like that was pretty well polished. So just games I haven't played, but leave them in the comments. Something I'm forgetting. What do you think's the pinnacle of of a polished game? I don't care how far back you want to go. Like Metroid Prime is an example. I always think of that, just how freaking polished that game was. The first time I booted it up got to the end and started over immediately. Like, I had, there's a few little like quality of life things that was just design choices, with nothing to do with like the actual game polish, I don't think. But I'd put that up there. Like, let me just think about like Super NES, NES, like Super NES. Super Mario World, highly polished game. A Link to the Past, highly polished game. Most of the games Nintendo put out back then. Donkey Kong Country. And then like N64, that's when Nintendo had to, they're learning how to make games in 3D. I think Ocarina of Time felt like the most polished experience, but then you look back and it does have some pretty significant frame rate issues. I remember the hitting, the pauses when you want to return the electrical ball between Ganon. I always felt like there was some stutters that led to me getting hit, but that's neither here nor there. Still felt like a really polished experience. Star Fox 64, I remember thinking that. On GameCube, Rogue Squadron, like launch game, that felt like ultra polished from instantly. I'd say like Metroid Prime on Wii. You got the Galaxy games. I'm just kind of skipping through just ones that pop into my head. Wii U, I already went over those. On Switch, like I said, Odyssey, Smash, Luigi's Mansion. So for the other systems, I'm not going to go through. But yeah, if you guys think of any that I've forgotten, let me know. What do you think is the pinnacle of a polished video game? I would try to steer away from games I've had a ton of patches. Like, try to think of games that around launch that good. But yeah, I think I'm gonna get out of here. It's getting pretty warm in this room, and think about either watching a movie or going to possibly play some more Ragnarok. I'm not sure. But yeah, Merry Christmas to everybody. Christmas Eve tomorrow. Because of the weather here in Michigan, I don't have to go anywhere, which is nice. We're going to try to do it Christmas evening instead of Christmas Eve evening, but my Detroit Lions play at 1 o'clock, big game, playoff push. They had quite the turnaround, so So I'm really looking forward to actually going to bed early so I can wake up and it be tomorrow so I can watch the game. But yeah, thanks for everybody for tuning in. Sorry, Rohan, I'm not an anime. I do like some animated movies. I'm a huge animated movie fan. Into the Spider-Verse is probably my favorite Spider-Man movie. Probably my favorite MCU movie, or Marvel movie, I should say. I love a couple Studio Ghibli movies, like Princess Mononoke is one of my favorite movies all time. But I'm not watching 40 episode seasons of shouting anime characters. I'm sorry, it's just not me. But yeah, so anyway, that's all I got. Thanks for tuning in, everybody. And like I said, have a Merry Christmas, Happy Hanukkah, whatever holiday you celebrate. If you don't celebrate, fine. If you're in the U.S., you're gonna get the time off anyway. If you're not, cheers, whatever holidays. If it's not this time of year, that for us for me, I've been kind of over Christmas for like 15 years. I've been begging my mom not to do gifts anymore, and been losing. I just gave up. She can just buy me some underwear and a shirt or something, whatever. I don't believe in adults just giving gifts just because. I would rather just get together, have a good meal, and have the kids have the young kids open gifts. That's how I would want it. But anyway, so yeah, that's all I got. Enjoy the games you're playing. Game of the Year podcast will probably be second or third Monday in January. I'm pretty locked into my list right now. Something could move up or down depending in the next 20 hours of gameplay. Been a great year, though. That's one thing I want to say before I get out of here. It's been a great year for me. Not just the 2022 releases, even though all the ones I've played have been, really good. A Plague Tale was the only real disappointment. It's still a decent game. It's just compared to my expectations. Plus the old games I played, from Bloodborne to Xenoblade Chronicles, Nier, Demon's Souls. What else? I feel like I'm forgetting one major one. But it's just I think I've finished 11 games, and I've really enjoyed all of them. And I might try to finish Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order before the podcast, just to have that done. And then I have Sekiro. I haven't opened it yet. Looking forward to trying that. And also, I started playing Elden Ring again. I put a couple hours in yesterday. I played a lot of games. My PS5 stats, I'm at like 480 hours gaming on my PS5, 270 something on my Switch. That's a good year for me. So anyway, thanks for tuning in, guys. With that, I'm out of here, and we'll probably, I might not be I don't know if we'll have a Monday's podcast or not, but if we do, we'll see you then. Otherwise, it'll be the following Monday. So have a good one. Until then, we'll see you next time.